news wise, man? It wasn't really after that. It was really not much to talk about. I guess we can get into that De La Soul and talk about that.
That's good with me.
All right, Kev, you go first, man. I've been going first the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, all right, I'll jump this thing off, man. So, you know what I'm saying? We picked this De La Soul album. I didn't really see this one coming. When I saw that it came out, did a little bit of research on it. I guess that they had a Kickstarter originally for it and got the fan support and backing, and the project got funded. So, booyah, they put the album out, which was really smart on their part. I definitely applaud them for that business move. And you know what I'm saying? Be it that it's 2016, I didn't quite know what to expect from a De La Soul album in 2016. But you know what I'm saying? It definitely it exceeded my expectations. Now, I say that, but at the same time, my expectations were pretty low. And this album, I really enjoyed all the features. I felt like all the features came through very strong, even though it seemed like the songs that did have a feature, that the feature almost had a solo song. Like their contributions to the songs where they collaborated was very small compared to the people that they collaborated with. Jill Scott's song, that's all her. Snoop Dogg comes on after like 4 minutes into that song. I'm like, what is this? What's going on here? Man, that property is spitkickers.com. Whoo, Rock Marciano, I might need you out of here, man. Like that song was sounding very elderly. Very geriatric, had this old New York flow, man. And you know, we give these young kids a lot of flack about the rhymes that they kick these days. Yo, these were some of the most elementary rhymes on this album. There were so many struggle bars on this album, and it's not even funny. Like, I mean, these guys are too old to be kicking stuff that simple. Like, I mean, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It was real bad.
Are you saying from De La Soul?
Yeah, from De La Soul.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kicking a lot of really, really just immature and really simple kind of sing-songy fairy tale kind of rhymes. Like, I mean, it was bad. There were struggle bars all through this whole thing. Like, they were really, like, when I listened to this, I got a feeling of the 90s back, but not in a good way. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like they flipped the sound of the 90s. It was really like they just brought the same old thing that they were doing back, you know, in the early 90s into 2016 with a little bit of a refresh to it. There was way too much sing-songiness, and they were all over the place stylistically. That rock song on here, I think it might be CBGBS or Lord Intended, one of those two. Oh, that's bad. It's just bad. It's real bad. The production is lackluster on this thing. I mean, good God. Even down to the sound of it, like, it is mixed terribly. Like, their voices are so low on this thing. Like, it seems like this was one of those albums where they were like, yo, we are going to try to cut costs at every corner. We will. Yeah, I mean, that's no excuse for having a bad engineer, though. You know what I'm saying? You can afford like, man, you need to be able to afford a good engineer if you're going to put out an album, especially if you're going to be a group, on this level.
I kind of don't buy that from you, though, because you said that Frank Ocean's album had good production. I don't see that album being more, like, even any different than this one. I think production-wise, it was actually pretty good.
Oh, no, the sounds were much more leveled on that Frank Ocean. Like, I mean, like, they sound like they're hidden behind the instruments on this album. Like, listening to it in the car, like, they're almost impossible to hear because they're so drowned out by the beats and consistently. And then there was just, like, all this singing, like, oh, my God. I don't know. But like I said, I did like all the features, man. I really liked the song that had Little Dragon on there. Drawn. I thought Yukimi killed it. They get extra props for bringing Damon Albarn on there, dude from the Gorillaz. I really like him. He's got a lot of really dope solo stuff. If you ever get some time, check him out. So yeah, they definitely picked out their features really well, but this album, I mean, I'm glad that the fans that wanted it got it, but it's not. Will I ever go back to it? No. It's definitely not really worth a listen. I listened to it probably 3 times, and by the 3rd time, it was already kind of stale. It just wasn't. It wasn't a great project. I would rate it out at about a 65.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was geriatric on there, dog. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, man, my bones started hurting listening to that
joint. You need some Insure?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Let me get this
Insure and a nap, bro, because it was elderly. That was an elderly album right there.
Go ahead.
It's funny because some of the stuff Kev was saying, I was gonna say it, but just a different way. I felt like instead of being an album, I was like, man, this is my dad rapping on here. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it did take me back. It had that old school sound to it. I did appreciate that. It took us back to the 90s. But it's almost like they're out of time. Like, they shouldn't have come back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, they should have just stayed gone. But I gotta appreciate the hustle, though. I gotta appreciate the hustle. Like, my favorite song on the album was Exodus. I think that was a pretty fire song. Jill Scott, she held it down. Greyhounds was decent. I mean, yeah, Usher on there. It was okay.
Yeah.
But like you said, the features are kind of the high point, besides Exodus to me. The beats, I like the beats. I didn't think nothing was wrong with the production, really. I mean, I like that kind of old school 90s feel. And I think it was sing-songy just because, you know, the bars weren't there. The bars weren't there. But I don't think they were... I don't know if they were trying hard because I don't listen to De La Soul that much.
You haven't.
It just seemed kind of like sea-level bars. Like, all right, let me just get this out. You know, I'm not going to put no... It's not like a Lupe where you got to, like, listen to it a couple times. Like, I can listen to it one time and it's like, all right, I got what you're saying. Cool, let's move to the next track. And I listened to it twice, but the second time through, it was definitely a struggle. Like, I almost wanted to just kind of, like, skip through the songs that I don't like and get to the end. But, I mean, it's like, what can you expect from some old guys? You know, they're about to get the AARP. They're on Social Security line. What can you do?
I mean, they were just in there to get that check.
They was in there to get that check.
You know what I'm saying? They got the Kickstarter. They're like, hey, if the people going to pay for it.
They had to save on the engineer, man.
You know, it wasn't even if this is what the people want. It was if the people going to pay for it. They went out ahead and put that together.
But I think the strong suit on the album, to me, was just the production. I think it was solid, man, because it took you back. It had that old school 90s feel to it. So I think that's kind of what made me reminisce. So overall, I give the album 74.
74?
74.
Okay. So you got 67, you got 74?
I 65.
65.
Yeah, don't be trying to bump that score up, man.
I'm sorry. I can't remember. All right. De La Soul, The Anonymous Nobody. Like you said, it came out of nowhere. I didn't really expect it to even come out, to be honest with you. Like, it was kickstarted back in 2015. They got $110,000 in 10 hours.
Oh, dang.
So people wanted it.
Yeah.
You know, people wanted to definitely hear it. They actually released a little bit of it as an EP because it was supposed to come out in April. But then they revamped it, and then they had the single come out in June, the one with Usher, and then they released the album. So, De La Soul is a group, man. I mean, to put it in context how old these guys are, Macio's son is actually the running back for the Rams. Trey Mason is his son.
Wow.
So he was actually missing. He's back. He's found. Okay. He's found.
That's what's up.
But he used to play for, I want to say LSU. I can't remember who he played for. I don't fact check. But anyways, he's a running back for the Rams. And when the album, they talk about it was going to come out, they were actually talking about, it being Trey Mason's dad was put on an album. They're like, well, do you know who his dad is? He's one of the guys, and he's Maceo of De La Soul. So it's a legend. You definitely tip your hat and keep it pushing. I think with people, like, even when he listens to, like, Lil Yachty put out the comment, like, he doesn't know any of Tupac's songs, any of Biggie's songs.
Yeah. Blasphemy.
Yeah, it is blasphemy, but that just shows he's not going to be around here long, and I want him gone too. If the Assassin's Creed of black gentlemen comes, I want him gone too. But yeah, so it is sad that younger folk would never check for them. Like, I told my daughter about it. She's like, who? She don't know who De La Soul is. She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't like. I'm not listening to that. But when I did put it on in the car, she's like, who is that? I thought the album was actually pretty decent. Now, when it came on, it did have some bright points and has some low points. It does remind me of 90s rap, definitely. But I think the album was all over the place, but kind of in a good way. I mean, you had some rock, you had some, it had a little bit of R&B. Now, the one thing I will say about this album was, just like Kevin says, the features highlight this album. Yeah. I mean, we can look at the features. It was Jill Scott, Snoop, Rock Marciano, Estelle, Pete Rock, Justin Hawkins, David Byrne, Usher, Little Dragon, 2 Chainz, David Goldblatt, and Damon Albarn. Those people actually, besides Rock Marciano, whatever that dude is, he can get out of here. But the rest of it, they hold. Even 2 Chainz sounds decent on the album. Yeah. I found myself appreciating 2 Chainz because he understands his pocket that he's in, and he doesn't take himself too serious.
Too short. Let's keep it a little short with 2 Chainz.
Why? But you gotta have room for a 2 Chainz in there. I mean, it's not everybody's gonna be rapidy. He doesn't even take himself too serious. He'll tell you, there's other people that rap better than me, but you know, he has a lane, so I appreciate him for that.
Yeah.
Not saying he makes excellent music or anything, but so with that, I appreciated the De La Soul album. I actually enjoyed it. The second time I listened to it, I enjoyed it more. The second track on the album, well, the track Greyhounds was definitely my joint, but Royal Capes, the second track on the album, was dope to me. That one was the one I'm like, it set the tone to the whole album. Like, yo, this is very good. Like, I can listen to this again and again. This is actually very good to listen to. But I will say the rock song, I didn't like it. But I can appreciate that it was okay. But the thing that takes away from them is when the three guys try to rap, they sound so dated.
Yeah,
you know, they're beyond. I think if you give us those beats and give us maybe an hour, we probably can rap better than those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because, and I think what they tried to do, which I will say I appreciate that they did, was they stayed in their era. I don't want them doing the Drake cadence. I don't want them doing the Travis Scott. I like the fact they're doing that, but the fact that they did Kickstarter and got it funded by the people, they gave the people an album.
And within a year, too.
Within a year. And they came true for it. Yep. You know? So I think that, and plus with a group, especially a 90s group, they're probably beef like crazy. They're from, they're not from Harlem. Where are they from? I forget. I don't fact check. But the fact that it's a group of guys, because other groups have not put out any music. Wu-Tang has been, people have been wondering, well, Wu-Tang album for I don't know how long.
Martin Shkreli got it.
Yeah, Martin Shkreli got it. Yeah, besides him. You know, but even with that, they was all, with technology, they recorded their verses somewhere else and then pieced it together like a puzzle. Mm-hmm. So I can appreciate them for that. But I gave it a 77.
Okay.
So I really thought that, you know, like for it being a surprise album, for it to be something I wasn't looking forward to, the cover art, which is on the channel, you can look at it, was actually pretty dope to me.
Yeah,
too.
I thought the cover art was dope.
You know, and that sometimes it'll get me from that. But I went back to, like I said, I listened to Frank again. And I listened to No Name Gypsy again. So after I got done with it, I was done with it. So I will keep it on my phone for about a month or so. I will listen to it again, though. I will say that. But it's just those are, and that's one thing about me. I'm the oldest one of GamesMusicLyfe, so I find myself with the ears of like 90s hip hop sometimes. But I do listen to a ton of music, and I can appreciate guys who can actually rap. These are not guys that can rap.
Right.
You know,
not great.
You're pushing what?
Oh no.
About.
Who, me? I'm 30. I'll be 38 this year.
About 46.
No, here you go.
You
couldn't tell because the music you showed us to listen to. Let's not forget that, okay? Yeah. I'm from under the rock, all right?
Yo, I know this is terrible to say, man, but listening to them, bro, they sounded like a poverty little brother.
Yo.
Wow.
They did
They sounded like a poverty little brother.
You know, and it's crazy, too, because they had a little brother sound, but they don't have the rapping skills of Fonte. And that's the thing.
And, you know, I can tell that they probably influenced Little Brother, but it's like Little Brother took your style and they flipped it into something way better. So, like, you're out. You're done. It's finished. Like, you know, we should have took that Kickstarter money and gave it to Little Brother and told him to get back together, please.
Make this right.
Yeah, make it right. You know what I'm saying? Take this little bit of change and make it right. Because this De La album, I mean... Bro, I could, man, it smelled like old people.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It did.
Balls.
But, you know, and that's the thing, too, when I listened to it, I'm like, I didn't want to hear them rap.
Yeah, the features were the highlight.
Yeah, the features were the highlight.
Yeah.
Definitely. But the production, like I said, I found out, did you like the production? It was actually pretty good.
It sounded like they were getting those bargain basement beats. You know what I'm saying?